I think Timbaland himself, he's a little further along, but he doesn't know half of what's going on either. Because why would he feed all this into Suno publicly and then get to the point where he has to seek legal counsel and apologize for it publicly later? No one would do that to themselves if they weren't a little confused. I don't hear anything of actual substance or of legal relevance from the pro AI side ever. The argument is always it's always insults. It's always insults and fear. And the one thing I hear all the time is, why are you fighting technology? You can't fight technology. It's inevitable. But let's be 100% fucking honest here. People fight technology every day of their lives. And en masse, we fight technology. To this day, people are still fighting, maybe, should I say this word? It starts with a V. People think it causes mental illness in children. People are fighting that, and those have been around forever. People are fighting all kinds of technology. Every time you file a DMCA claim for someone stealing your music, you are fighting technology.
Even all of these platforms, these AI platforms have massive legal teams to fight people stealing the IP from their technology, which is, you know what I'm saying? Like, the whole thing is sick. They're telling you the same thing that they're like, don't do what we're doing. There's no reason to fight it. It's like, then why is your legal department so large?
Yeah, exactly. It's don't fight AI. It's great. Embrace it. But people are cutting off their ankle bracelets. People are disabling their GPS on their devices. You fight technology all day. If you opt out of some shit that's there by default, that's tracking you, you're fighting technology. If you complain about streaming royalty rates, you're fighting technology. If you didn't like that TikTok was spying on you, you're fighting technology. You should just let it all happen. So everyone, it's pointless to argue with the pro AI people because they do not have a serious case. It's just their heads are in the clouds and there's nothing of substance being added to the dialogue. They just want the money. They don't care, or they already have the money and they don't care. And so it devolves into just this really stupid playground argument. I actually want to talk about something that's not AI. You know what? No, let's end with this AI. I want to ask you a question, Aaron, because you were real skeptical at first. Have you changed your mind about the Zara Scully stuff?
A bit, I'll be honest. I think that it seemed like it was a publicity moment just because of the way that she approached telling the story. And I wasn't saying that it wasn't true. There just were enough indicators to me that either she was an attention fiend and it was true, or that it was not true because of the way that she was trying to garner attention. But I will say, things that you brought to my attention and also some things that have come across my timeline, unless she's just like a face of somebody, I think that, yeah. And if you want to give context, I can give a little. She's the one whose voice and I guess like some of her lyrics are the ones that contributed to Timbaland's AI artist. Can't remember the name of the AI artist. Tata. He was saying that it's just 100% generated from the AI. The the likeness, the sounds, all of that, i.e. generated from all the stuff he stole from y'all that y'all were on his live. But this woman, Zarah, is now saying, she came forward and was like, no, this is me. This is my voice. I wrote a lot of this and he's trying to make it a thing. So at first I was like, because she was like, I'm not going to say why. There were things that made me think she was not telling the truth, but more has come to light that it seems like it is actually true.
Yeah, and I don't want to speculate whether or not something she said is true because we're not there. There's a clear, I mean, there's evidence that she and Timbaland were working together. That's pretty much all I can say with certainty. But you saw this, right? Where she talks about the whole consent factor. I really want to talk about consent.
Oh, no, actually, I don't know is this Curtis interviewing her or is he reacting?
Curtis interviewed her.
Okay.
Curtis is on it. Curtis interviewed King Fresh is my friend, K Fresh and her. I just want to pick up on one thing that Like one interaction.
And that was the first time I ever played it for anybody, was on that live. And I wrote that record like so personally, and I've held on to it for like a year. He was so excited about my music, and he said he prayed to God about me, and I was right under his nose the whole time because I had known him for years. I wanted to believe it. I would answer when I was even serving tables at work. And he's like, we got to get you like a videographer to your job and serving tables and like tell the story, like, because you won't be there long, kind of thing. He put this song Suspicions into his AI, which is Baby Timbo. And he was on the next day on March 8th calling me being like, I changed your voice. Like I had a different accent. Like I was a man at some point. And he was having fun. And at first I was like, this is cool. Like I didn't realize the whole weight of it all,
This is something that you granted him permission to do?
I didn't really understand anything.
I'm glad Curtis asked that question, but I wish he had followed up because she didn't answer it. That's the part that I wanted to run by you. What do you think? Because what's your opinion on that interaction about, the very direct question he asked? It was a yes or no, and she didn't give a yes or no.
I think that it's so hard because I don't want to speculate. I think that when asked the question, she didn't want to look like it. In her head, it probably wasn't connected to permission. It's literally like, I've known Timbaland for years because, like she said, they've been around each other. He might have never shown any crazy, like it could have just been, like we both know plenty of people, and it's like nothing comes from the relationship, but now you're starting to see something develop and there's a level of excitement around your creation. She's probably not like, hey, Timbaland, I didn't give you permission to manipulate my voice and vocals via AI. Because it's kind of like if you send somebody a song and then they're like, yo, can you send me the stems? And it's a big producer, so you get excited and you send it, and then they put your voice or hook over one of their beats, or they pull out a sound from your song and they're like making something. They're like, look at this thing I made. I've experienced that before, where the artist is like, should I say something? Do we need to send some paperwork? But you're like hyped on the fact that they're showing excitement, and they may get your song placed or place your song, but you're also nervous because you don't know, like, if they're taking advantage of you. That's why she was like, I didn't really know. And again, if he's just playing with it in AI, it's not even like he's like, oh, I'm about to drop this song, I'm about to release it. He's just like, oh, I'm just messing with it because I'm excited about this song. And again, as a creator, as an artist, we sit in this world all day. We're interested in the rights for artists, working on both sides of it. But artists are more so like, how can I get my tracks off? Like she said, I never played it for anybody. So she's looking at it as my precious art is now being inspiring, or is making a guy that I really respect excited. She's probably not thinking my intellectual property is being mutilated and I need to protect myself. Do you know what I'm saying? So like,
oh yeah,
I don't know if she's saying, if she's not answering because that was a discussion and it got flopped. I doubt it though. Realistically, it's like it seems like what she said. I didn't know, so I didn't even, she probably just didn't want to say, I didn't even ask him about it because I didn't think about that, or didn't even know to ask about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of problems here, and they all have to do with consent, because a lot of people will have these conversations and they'll see those conversations. Oh, well, you didn't say no. Or you said, oh, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, mess around with it. See, that's a yes. And again, we're getting into dark territory here with consent, because consent is about body autonomy too. She's a woman in the music business. This is a problem for a lot of people, not just women, but especially women. And you walk into this consent gray zone, which shouldn't exist, because consent is yes or no. And when it comes to AI, there are very clear terms on Suno. Suno has very clear terms of service. Actually, I shouldn't say very clear, because it's all legalese that's meant to confuse people. But her saying, oh yeah, mess with it, isn't the same as her saying, yes, train on my voice, my vocal stylings, my songwriting, the way I put songs together.
And it doesn't even sound like she said, hey, mess with it. It sounds like she said the track, he came back like, hey, I messed with it. And she's like, oh, cool. And then sometimes that could be an old cool where you feel caught. Like,
Yeah.
why do you want to mess with my song and not just let me have it? But you're like, oh, this is a big celebrity. He could change my life. Let me feel excited about this. Do you know what I'm saying? It just feels
And of course,
weird.
you want to feel excited, like the scenario that you painted, where someone gets my beat, they ask for the stems, all of a sudden they send me a beat back, and they're like, "This is what I did with it. It sounds nothing like my beat." And then when it comes time for them to drop it, I'm like, "Okay, where are the splits?" They're like, "Oh, well, you're not getting anything because I use such a small part of yours, and I'm a way bigger producer. But hey, I'll give you some credit, or maybe I'll give you 5%." I'm like, "Wait a minute, no, we didn't talk about this at all." So what she said, I didn't understand the full weight of what my voice being ingested into AI was. I feel like she's maybe still doesn't, because if that was used to train additional models, and if Suno is ingesting everything that's uploaded by users and is now training, she's a part of the singularity now. She is forever a part of Suno, and she can't withdraw consent at this point. That's terrifying, but also just she's such an artist. I think maybe that's why, like, no disrespect to her at all, but she is the artist. She's the stereotype of a singer-songwriter that moved out to LA and is waiting tables, waiting for a big break. Her head's in the clouds. She's just kind of floating around, writing music, personalizing it. This music means the world to her. And that's just kind of the stereotypical artist trope, where they're really connected to their art. They're so connected to their art that they're oblivious to all the exploitation that's happening around them. And so it just, yeah, when she said, I didn't really know what was going on, I believe that. I don't think she knew what was going on. And I'm not faulting her for that. I think the majority of artists are like that, and the majority of people who are using Suno, even Timbaland himself. I think Timbaland himself, he's a little further along, but he doesn't know half of what's going on either. Because why would he feed all this into Suno publicly and then get to the point where he has to seek legal counsel and apologize for it publicly later? No one would do that to themselves if they weren't a little confused.